All right, well, thanks for tuning into week number 2, and Merry Christmas. So last week I talked a little bit about our schedule, and the car was going to get painted this week, and all the parts were going to go for paint next week. We've kind of got hung up on the schedule. We're waiting for the company that we purchased the cage from to sign off on the cage. All the welds are okay, the placement of the bars are all good, and we didn't want to kind of put the cart in front of the horse, so we're waiting to paint the car until we get that final approval from the cage company. So we put the parts out for paint this week, and then the car is going to get painted next week. But there's still plenty to talk about. Even with that being the case, we're still on schedule, just the schedule's gotten changed around a little bit. So here is our shop. It's kind of a nondescript warehouse building, which is sort of the way I like it. I think it's kind of cool that way. So after you walk in, the first thing that you see is this kind of big open entertainment area is what I'm kind of calling it for right now. I don't have any furniture in here yet, but essentially when it's all said and done, my goal is to have some couches, high top tables. You know, we've already got the table tennis, that's all ready to go. But you know, we want to host events here for the team, so like, you know, debuting a new car or a sponsor event, or maybe even some sort of fundraiser type event. And then on the other side here, I've got some private offices, and I've also got our conference room slash strategic planning room where we do all our pre-event planning. Okay, so I didn't do it in one take. Yeah, you guys have all seen the photos of the shop. It's really one of my favorite parts about our shop. It's so clean, it's so nice, it's such a great spot to work in. It's temperature controlled, it's, you know, great lighting. You know, I got these LED lights that surround the car, and then with the white floor, it reflects off the floor, so you don't even need a work light underneath the car. It works out really well. And I've been really happy with the way it turned out. But no, seriously, we actually use this. I mean, this is where we do all the reprep. The cars come in, cleaned, they come apart, they get put back together. It happens in these areas. Let's see, we also use these rooms for photo shoots, which I'm sure you've seen. Then over here, I've got the engine and transmission room, the shop office, which I'll get that in another video. And of course, you guys saw this last week in a photo I'd posted. Yes, it's an Audi. It's a fun little project that I've got going on that I'm hoping to be able to debut this spring. It's not going to be a rally car, although I wish it was going to be a rally car. I have a dream of building an Audi rally car, and I'm hoping to make that dream a reality at some point, but not quite yet. Maybe in the future. Maybe sometime in the next couple of years, we'll see. All right, so a few of you asked, how do you keep this place so clean? The answer is pretty easy. All of the power, all the cords, they're all on reels. The air lines, they're all on reels. So it's all tucked away in the cabinet doors. So you can just open a cabinet door, pull out whatever you need, and then it all just retracts back in, so you can shut the door and hide the mess. That way this room is always looking nice and clean, the way it should be. And then as far as parts go, we've got a part room where we keep all the goods for that. All the spare parts and items that come off the car. So you have to excuse me, the parts room's kind of a mess right now. We're in the process of obviously building a car, and then we're kind of low on inventory, and we've got whole new shipments of inventory coming in the next few weeks to kind of replenish our stock for the season. But we've just got a ton of parts in here. I mean, our tires, all I've pretty much got left are the ones we didn't use last season, and some of the good ones that were salvageable to use for testing. You know, we've got our air compressor that runs air for the whole shop. I've got our AMSOIL here. We had a great meeting with them last week. I'm really excited to continue our partnership with them. I think they've got some great new products they want us to try. They think they can get us a little bit more horsepower and get us a little bit more life out of some of the parts that we've been struggling a little bit with, like the steering rack. But yes, we've got suspension front, rear, control arms. Get ready to go on the rally car. There's still a little bit of work that we got to do to it to get it ready. But you can see here I've got my shelf of shame, which eventually is going to be the wall of shame once I get it set up in the front. But these are all just the nice little parts that we've broke over the years. This was the trailing arm that we broke at Mount Washington after hitting the rock. And I've got this rear lateral arm that we bent off the jump at STPR, which was an awesome jump, and I'm looking forward to it again next year. That caliper and the rotor, that's pretty much the only thing that we salvaged off the car at Oregon after the fire. We also pulled off the Cadillac converter, but that was pretty much about it. Parts everywhere. If you guys are interested, I've got some stock STI front and rear seats, and I've got some stock STI calipers and struts. So if you're interested, let me know. I'd like to get some shelf space cleared off. All right, so as I said, you know, the car's pretty much about ready for paint. We're just waiting for the final okay on the cage. So Mike's been busy just doing all the final prep on the car, making sure every hole gets filled, grinding down the welds, you know, wire brushing it, just making sure that the metal's as ready as it can be for paint. You know, we'll take a bunch of aluminum stickers and fill in or cover up all these holes so that when you paint it, you won't see those holes. I think we're going to put a little Bondo in certain spots at the bottom just to fill in some of the low spots. But yeah, you can pretty much see here we've got our fire extinguisher mount in. We've got our seatbelt mounts welded in. Seat rails are ready. We ended up spending a little bit more time than I thought on this dash bar. With this cage, you don't use the stock dash bar anymore. So what you see in white, we had to cut off our old dash bar, and then you have to attach it to this roll bar. And the roll bar is not in the same spot as the dash bar was. So you're making a bunch of measurements and changes to try to get that dash to fit back in where it's supposed to. But we're there now. Mike spent a good amount of time on that, but he's done an incredible job with it. We've got our pedal box mount all welded in, and I'll talk about that here in a sec because I know a lot of you had a few questions about that. Let's see, we've got our strut towers reinforced. We've got, let's see what else we have up here. One thing I was going to mention that I didn't mention last week, if you're going to build a cage, it's a good idea, I just recommend it probably, to tie your cage into your front strut towers. That's just going to add more strength and rigidity to the car. It ties your front strut towers then all the way to the rear, so you don't have to worry about it, you know, bending your car if you're jumping it, that sort of thing. I think we've probably installed over 100 of these weld nuts. We put them all over the car, anywhere where we're going to end up attaching something. It just makes life so much easier to install them now, weld them in, and then paint the car. Our arch liners, you know, they'll be able to just bolt right in. Mud flaps can bolt right in. We do the same thing with the side skirts, bumpers, and even inside the car. So you can see, you know, our handbrake gets attached here. Cool driver footrest, our cool suit, the fuel tank cover, all that stuff, nut gun, all that stuff is easily just, you know, car comes back from paint and you can just bolt it in with minimal work, and it's just a nice, much nicer, cleaner. Here I got behind me is Troy Miller's car. So thank you, Troy, for letting me use your car as an example on having the stock pedal assembly versus pedal box. I had a few questions last week as to are pedal boxes legal in the US? Because I do not believe that they are legal in the production class in Canada, but they are legal to have in a super production car here in the States. The only requirement is if you have a hydraulic clutch, it has to stay hydraulic. If you have an electronic throttle system, it has to stay electronic. So with his car, as I said, he has stock pedals. So your seat placement is really limited to what you can reach based off of the pedals because you can't move them here. So like in this case, when I had the stock pedals, I felt very uncomfortable in the car because I felt like I ended up sitting so close to the front of the car that it just, I don't know, I kind of felt uncomfortable with it. So as you can see, with that pedal box, you have to be about 28.5 inches from the firewall to be able to properly engage the clutch, and I'll show you that. The other problem with the system, in my opinion, was in order to get the clutch to fully engage, you pretty much have about 6 to 7 inches of travel before the clutch is going to fully engage, which means you have to have your seat farther forward just to be able to reach all the way to the firewall. I mean, my foot's pretty much all the way extended here to try to get the clutch engaged. With the pedal box, that substantially improves. Moving to my car here with the Tilton pedal box, I've been really happy with it. We installed it, I think over the off season last year. And you can see with this box, it's enabled us to move the pedals a little bit closer to me. So I was able to move my seat, let's see here, back to about 32 inches. So we went from just 28 inches to 32, so that was probably almost 4 inches that we were able to move the seat back just by being able to install this pedal box. It's pretty reasonably priced. I think the box itself is about $600 to $700, and then you buy the cylinders. You can buy them from AP or Tilton or wherever you prefer. And it's just, I've been really happy with the setup. I think it's a great investment for the car. I think you're able to pick up some speed with it as well, and part of that is because because the seat's further back, you're moving that center of gravity back. You're also, because you're further back in the car, you're getting a better feel for what the car is doing. But I think one of my favorite features is just how little this clutch moves to get fully engaged. You're at about 2 inches of travel. So when you're climbing the gears off the line, or you're coming into a corner and you need to get down gears, to be able to just slip your foot over, push 2 inches, you're fully engaged the clutch, downshift or upshift, whatever you got to do, you save so much time, and I think your shifts are a lot more precise that you just, I feel a lot more confident with it. So I've been really happy with it for that reason. Let's see, here you can see up there is my action cam mount for the pedal cam. And then one of the trickier things we had to kind of figure out was how to get this throttle to work. And keeping with the electronic throttle system, how do you wire up a throttle pedal in a pedal box to a stock car? And what we saw this in another car, and so we thought we'd give it a try. It's worked really well. We've been happy with it all season. We haven't had any problems with it. I mean, we still kind of keep an eye on it, but it's pretty simple and it's worked out really well. All we've done is attach this linkage from the gas pedal to the stock gas pedal, and it basically does what you need it to do. So with all that being said, I've been really happy with Tilton's product. The only part I struggled with a little bit is you can see these cylinders are on the firewall side of the pedal box, and that's forced the pedal box to be a little bit closer to me than I'd probably prefer. It's making my legs a little bit cramped, and we can't go any farther forward because of those cylinders. So I'm really, there's that issue, but I'm really excited about the fact that Tilton's got this brand new pedal box. I think they're starting the manufacturing of it now. It should be available for sale pretty soon. We were able to get one of their demo models from the PRI show that there was a few weeks ago. But the main difference is instead of having these cylinders on the front, they'll actually be underneath this footrest. So you'll be able to move that pedal box as far forward as you'd like. So you can see it's right here. These cylinders are going to be underneath my feet, like I said. Your pedals are here, and there really is nothing on the front of it. So you're going to attach your footrest, and you can push that pedal box as far forward as you'd like. So that's going to give me a little bit more room in the car. I think might be a little bit more comfortable, and like I said, The more comfortable you are in the car, you're just going to perform better all day. If you're constantly fighting the car, you're uncomfortable, it just increases the fatigue that you have, especially when you're in a car all day and it's 100 degrees and it's 110 in the car. You know, every little bit of comfort you can get makes a big difference. And I guess while I'm over here, I'll just show you, you know, painting the car. You can pretty much paint it any color you want. I think Ken's car is gray on the inside. You could do black, you could do red, really any color you want. We do white just because it looks clean when there's no wrap on it. The biggest thing that I find to be important is just having a nice good finish even on the inside. I wasn't as happy with the finish that we had on this car. The next car is going to be even better, but to have a nice smooth glossy finish allows you to just be able to wipe the car clean between each event. So it makes cleanup a lot easier. You know, you can see here, if you don't have a good coat of paint and you get more of a rough finish, the car just doesn't want to clean up as nice. One other little trick we learned was we had put this kind of laminate vinyl on the roll bar here. Any of these kind of heavy wear areas where you're going to hit with your shoe, whatever it might be, just to protect the paint. And so far it's worked out pretty well. All right, well, thanks for tuning in this week. Hopefully you saw something that you liked. Hopefully you learned something new. No questions stupid, so if you've got any questions, any comments, any concerns, seriously, comment, message me. I don't care. I'm jotting them all down. I'm going to answer them as we work through each episode. I want this to be as informative, and I want you guys to kind of drive the direction that we go, so feel free to just let me know where it is you guys want me to go. I think hopefully in the next few videos I'll get you guys a good tour of the hauler, I'll get you a tour of the stacker trailer, I'll get you in the shop office and the engine and transmission room. Next week I'm going to be out of town, so I don't think there's going to be a video, but yeah, other than that, have a great Christmas day today, and probably see you next year.